We race for Connecticut. Why will
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Hersam Acorn newspapers, publishers of the Greenwich Post, New Canaan Advertiser, the Darien Times, the Ridgefield Press, the Weston Forum, the Wilton Bulletin, the Reading Pilot, the Lewisboro Ledger, the Monroe Courier, the Eastern Courier, the Trumbull Times, Fairfield Sun, Shelton Herald, the Stratford Star, the Milford Mirror, and the Valley Gazette.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
Welcome to HAN Radio's Behind the News, the show where three veteran Connecticut news editors go behind the stories with the columnists, photographers, reporters, and editors who covered them. They will discuss not only Hersam Acorn stories, but take a look at the media landscape in Fairfield and Westchester counties. They will discuss it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. With John Kovach and Josh Fisher, here's your host, Kate Czaplinski.
Thanks, Rob. Well, you're listening to Behind the News, and you could be watching us right now on the Hersam Acorn Network. Just go to hanradio.com, click on Watch Now. We're live. And first up today, should a young child be allowed to take medical marijuana to stop seizures? One Wilton parent is fighting for that right, while one Wilton politician is fighting against it. John, what else do we have coming up?
Well, Kate, some students in Weston yesterday, Thursday, ended up in the hospital after eating candy that someone had brought back from a vacation in China. That was unfolding rapidly. Patty Gay of the Weston Forum all over that story. We'll bring Patty on to talk about a food story that probably doesn't fit into what she does with Stir Crazy.
No, I hope not.
Is a lot scarier. Josh, what else do we have?
Yeah, I don't think those are part of the ingredients of the
secret ingredient?
The chef showdown.
I hope not.
We're also going to be, we have some breaking news that we broke just moments ago about a new newspaper opening up in southwestern Connecticut. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. We're also going to take a look back at the top stories in our region this past week. But first, we're going to bring on Chris Burns, who's assistant editor of the Wilton Bulletin and is traveling again. Chris,
Chris is a busy guy.
Jet
Where are you
setter.
going now, Chris?
I'm just past the Baltimore Sun headquarters. Here in Baltimore.
So you're job hunting.
So I'm on my way to Monticello and then go to the NASCAR race. It's a nice weekend.
Excellent. Well, we'll hope that we could keep you on the line as you roll down the road. You wrote a really interesting story this week. Did a really good job, I think, of getting a lot of some different sides of this case of this young girl from Wilton who gets seizures every few months, and her mom wants her to take its non-psychoactive marijuana. And what's interesting about it is the most vocal critic against marijuana rights in Connecticut is Tony Boucher, who's the state senator of Wilton and previously was the state representative from Wilton up in Hartford. And so you put together, Chris, a pretty cool video, which we're going to play here, and I'll do a little narration for part of it, John, if we're ready, and Eric to do that.
Great.
So hold on one second here. So Ella's a 5-year-old girl. She has Dravet syndrome, a condition marked by regular, uncontrollable seizures that can leave her in the hospital for days. Recent studies have shown that Ella's condition may be helped by non-psychoactive cannabis. Some suggest she may experience 50%.
Ella would never see
seizures.
marijuana in leaf form, and I would never see marijuana in leaf form. Ella would not be taking marijuana to school, which is what the politicians are afraid of. The marijuana that our children are abusing in schools is sold on the street. It's actually usually combined with other chemicals that cause people to become addicted to it, and is usually high in THC, which is the psychoactive component of marijuana. We need to separate the difference between marijuana for medical use and marijuana for drug abuse. Totally two separate issues. And with medical cannabis, it's usually the last resort for parents as a treatment for their children. It's not something that we would ideally want to go to, but because most of us don't have a choice, we're kind of forced to have another option other than pharmaceuticals.
That was Dana Wright Haddix, the mother of Ella. So, Chris, tell us about, first of all, how you found this story.
Actually, the mother of Ella reached out to the newspaper a few weeks ago, just letting us know that she was going to be testifying in the Connecticut House of Representatives in favor of a bill that would allow for child abuse. And I went over there, and the nice thing about working at a weekly newspaper is you're not always as crunched for time as they might be at a daily newspaper. So I was able to spend about 2.5 hours at their house talking with Dana, who's Ella's mother, and talking with Ella herself. And it takes about an hour or an hour and a half to allow a child to show that to adjust to your presence,
right,
and feel okay being being in front of the camera. And I think that's a really cool thing to know, is that you're able to spend so much more time in a weekly paper and hopefully give people a little bit more personal community aspects of the news.
No, that's a really good point, because you really are. We all are part of our communities that we cover, and you're present there.
And it's a sensitive topic. I mean, you're speaking to a little child and their mother, and it's their lives, and you want them to feel comfortable. You don't want to feel like some reporter just rushed in, got some quotes and left. So I think you definitely communicated that, and the video is great. It really adds another element to the story.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But I think the most important part of this whole story to stress is that Ella is, first of all, she's already on heavily addictive narcotics. She's on a drug called Klonopin, which is in the same vein as like Xanax that people might recognize. It takes months for Ella to just change her prescription routine, because it takes months to wean her off the narcotics that she's already on. So her mom basically is saying, she's already on all these narcotics. Here's a non-narcotic, a non-addictive substance that is non-psychoactive. Isn't going to make her daughter high. Isn't going to make her not understand what's going on. Why is essentially the state government telling her that's illegal if it might work? It's hard not to see it from her perspective, because when her daughter goes into one of her seizures are so bad that she actually goes into a highly acidic state, so her blood turns highly acidic, and she goes into total organ failure if they don't catch it within the first 5 minutes. I mean, these seizures aren't they're not just seizures that you recover from in 20 minutes like some seizure disorders. I mean, every time she has a major seizure, her life's in danger. So it's hard not to sympathize with her.
So all this is, Chris, is an effort to expand upon the number of ailments that fall under the state's medical marijuana law, correct? It's not anything new. It's not introducing a new substance. It's just adding other illnesses that can be treated with marijuana to those covered under the state's current medical marijuana legislation, correct?
I think that there is a separate bill right now in the House that is looking to add some conditions, but this specific bill that Ella's mother is fighting for would expand the medical marijuana program to people of all ages. So right now, in order to qualify for the medical marijuana program in Connecticut, you have to be 18, and this would expand it to
So this is about the age, but as you said, and this just boggles my mind, is that we're doing all these dog and pony shows with politicians about the heroin epidemic in southwestern Connecticut. Yet we're doing nothing to get these narcotics that you just said, highly addictive substances, off the streets. We're not just saying, hey, we need to look at this. I don't know if it has anything to do with the pharmaceutical companies making donations to campaigns. And now here's something that could help this girl, and we're going to fight it based on a premise that dates back 50 years, 60 years.
Right. Yeah. And I think that there are some legitimate concerns with medical marijuana in children. I don't think that it's something. I don't think that it's something that should be liberally given out. Right now, medical marijuana program in Connecticut covers a lot of different ailments and illnesses, and I don't know whether all of those should be extended to childhood medical marijuana use. But in Ella's instance and in other extreme instances, you really kind of look at the situation and you just can't understand why or how someone would be against this. I mean, there are states like Alabama, who a notoriously conservative state with very strict drug laws. For instance, in Alabama, if you are juvenile, if you have juvenile epilepsy, you qualify for a medical marijuana program in that state. And then see it in our own state, which is known for being far more liberal on these kind of issues, and having a representative from your own town fighting against it must not feel very good for Dana and Ella. I mean, it must just seem kind of backwards to them. And I think it seems backwards to most people. When you post a story about marijuana, almost always you're going to have some sort of negative feedback on your website. You're going to have some sort of negative pushback. In this story, it's gotten a lot of exposure on social media, and I was surprised that we haven't gotten a single piece of negative feedback towards Dana and Ella. I mean, kids like her have such an extreme situation. I mean, it's really not a question of drug policy. It's a question of health policy.
Now, Chris, just talking about that, I mean, did you speak to Tony Boucher about this? I know she's been very vocal opposing this.
Yeah, I mean, her basic premise is that that medical marijuana would negatively affect the development of a child's brain, and I think that there is conclusive, as she says, there is conclusive scientific evidence that does say that medical marijuana does have a negative effect. Marijuana in general has a negative effect on the developing brain. Right. But so does the drug that Ella's already on. Right. And there's research that suggests that medical marijuana is even more effective than the addictive narcotic that she's on. So it doesn't that reasoning, while valid in an outside inspection, I don't think is really submittable in this kind of situation.
Well, I'll throw this out to debate among the four of us here. Isn't that a decision best left to a doctor and not a politician?
Right. Yeah.
And Chris, as you noted, the American Academy of Pediatrics does agree with Senator Boucher that this is that the brain is still developing. But like you noted, also the seizures and it's almost like, well, why don't we still try this if it's going to work and it's going to work better? Yeah. But Tony Boucher is so violently against marijuana. It's such a black and white issue for her. We've seen this going on for years. And also I know as I believe the mother of this girl noted in your article, no one's ever died of marijuana overdose. Plenty of people have died from alcohol and from opiates and pretty much every other drug. But marijuana doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like for this family, it's almost the lesser of two evils. I mean, as you said, she's on some very serious medications, and it seems like, to me, there should at least be that option if your child already has serious medical issues. I mean, and the risks of both, these strong drugs she's on and medical marijuana, that you should have that option to decide.
Right. Yeah, I would be. A part of my conversation on Facebook with Dana that wasn't actually, after the story was published, commented on one of the links that we posted. She said that her doctors have told her that, irregardless of whether her daughter goes on medical marijuana or not, the amount of narcotics that she's been on for her whole life, paired with the severity of her seizures, that by the time she reaches her teenage years, she will basically have a brain that's been damaged just as much as drug addiction.
Wow.
And that's coming from her mom herself. I mean, you can debate the merits of medical marijuana realistically, whether it's been scientifically studied enough, whether those results are valid, whether it's actually medicinal or not. I think in this case really is irrelevant. I mean, people experiencing these problems are not just patients. I mean, like it's first of all, it's lifetime, and it's like it's never going to go away from her. It's going to always severely limit her ability to grow as a person and as an adult, because every time she has a seizure, like it affects her brain because there's such an organ shutdown.
And this also would be. I'm sorry, Chris. So this would be 0.3% of these pills, these medical marijuana pills that she would take, would include THC in it. And as you note in your article, medical marijuana currently for sale in Connecticut has THC levels from 6% to 27%. So we're not, it's this really seems like it's something that is very medicinal, certainly not recreational at all. And you got to feel for a mom who is seeing her this cute little girl of hers suffer, and to have to fight for the right to treat her too. And it's always kind of funny particularly when some of these Republicans in Connecticut are all of a sudden then come out against people making their own decisions and living their own life their own way, and working with a family doctor and a parent making the right decision for their child. But often these same Republicans will come against Democrats who maybe want to make laws for things, and you never can tell which way Tony Boucher is going. It always, but when it has to do with marijuana, she's always against it.
Right, it's personal choice unless I don't want you to have a personal choice.
Right. So and Tony does do a lot of good things, and I've known Tony for years. But this is something, and I've told her this before in talking with her and written in, even one editorial one time when I endorsed her. She's completely wrong when it comes to marijuana. She has no idea really what she's talking about. She uses outdated studies, and she really needs to focus more on the transportation and education, which she's very good at doing those things. But this is something where she just seems to, it's a witch hunt that she's involved in.
In my time at the Bulletin, it's obvious that Tony really fights for her constituents in a lot of different ways. But I think that if you took a poll of current voters in Wilton that are putting her in office, I don't think that her views on this really count that anymore. But,
yeah.
But that means, a lot of these towns right here only have 20%, show up for minor elections. So there's also the problem with actually voting. Yeah. That's a whole other different problem.
That's true, and Tony also does represent Ridgefield, Reading, Weston, Westport, part of New Canaan, Bethel, and so it's it's the 26th district. It's a big Republican district too. It's very hard for a Democrat to get elected in the 26th. I think the last time we had a Democrat from the 26th was back in the 60s or 70s, I believe. So it's been a while. Judy Freeman was there before her, and it was there for a long time. But so what does it say now? This bill is being is to allow this to happen. It's Connecticut House Bill 5892, an act concerning the palliative use of marijuana for children. It's being sponsored by State Rep Kevin Ryan, who's a Democrat. Is he from West Haven? Where's he from, Chris?
I think Brantford.
Okay.
No. Bolton.
All right.
Not exactly sure.
So,
but, and the one thing to note too about when you read the bill, it's very vague. It's basically just one sentence. It's a proposal. But when you go back and look at Connecticut's previous medical marijuana bill, that's pretty much how it was passed as well. And now I think it's Connecticut arguably has the most well-structured medical marijuana program in the country in terms of how secure it is, easy access to patients, and all of that. So I would imagine that this system would pass the same muster as the current one.
Well, and just to correct, as John found too, State Representative Kevin Ryan represents Basra, Montville, and we can assume part of Norwich.
Yes.
Right?
Some.
I forgot about Basra. It's such a great name.
Great
for a
name,
town.
isn't it? One thing I do want to touch on, because this is behind the news and it's 20 after 12 this Friday, is how much the video added to that story. Kate, you touched on it earlier in this segment, and it's really showing what we can do with the addition of streaming video to what Hersam Acorn offers online. Chris, how much did you feel that added to the ability to tell Ella's story?
I think it adds, immensely. I think once you see, when you see someone in person on a video, I think that you're just more inclined to make an emotional connection with them. And I think for a long time, newspapers were afraid to make leaps into new territory, or they were worried about time investment that they were going to need to do in order to make them jump into video and maybe more advanced multimedia stuff. But what I've found is that the technology that is out there today makes good journalism, makes excellent journalism just doesn't take as long as it used to. You can do really excellent journalism in a really short amount of time, thanks to video editing software. I mean, how quickly you're able to do it today compared to even 5 years ago is just extraordinary. And I think as newspapers are apparently not going to completely die, because they haven't completely died yet. So the ones that are still left, like ourselves, it seems like we are primed to be able to make steps in the right direction. I think that's what we're doing right now. It's exciting to be a part of that kind of
Well, Chris,
reinvention.
it is. It's neat, and you're doing a great job with it too. And the whole Wilton Bulletin staff of you and Jeanette and Kendra down there, you guys do a great job. It's a great community paper, and you should be really proud of how you handled this story and how you presented it on a lot of different levels. Keep up the great work. Please drive safely. I hope you get a top for that car you're driving in.
Sounds very windy in there, Chris.
But I hope it's warmer where you're headed. It's 23 minutes after the hour. We're going to be talking about some Chinese candy, a new newspaper coming to our area, a new weekly newspaper coming to our area, and a lot more still to come on Behind the News here on HNRadio.com and streaming live on the Hersam Acorn Network.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Spring is finally in the air, and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Does advertising on HANradio.com work? Just ask Coastal Orthopedics. They ran spots with us, and within 24 hours they had 21 walk-ins and 8 calls to their new immediate care center. To advertise on HANradio.com, call 203-417-5199 and ask for Marianne Hersam.
You're listening to Hersam Acorn Radio.
It's 12:25 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. We are live now. You can watch us on the Hersam Acorn Network by clicking on the Watch Now at HANradio.com, just like that.
Just like that?
Just
you
like
click on
that.
it like that?
Like that. If you have a touch screen, yes. Well, I'm Kate Czaplinski here with Josh Fisher and John Kovach. And on the line, we have Weston Forum Assistant Editor Patty Gay. Patty, thanks so much for coming on Behind the News.
Hi, everyone.
Now, Patty broke a very interesting story yesterday. Patty, some students took a trip to China, came back with some candy, and, tell us what happened from there.
Okay, yes. Over April vacation, a group of students from grades 9 through 11 went on a trip to China because Weston has a sister school in China. And they went on this trip with teachers, and somebody brought back some candy. I'm not sure who. And the candy was distributed to some people in the Weston Middle School. And some teachers and some students experienced some bad reactions from the candy and were taken to the hospital yesterday. They were, however, released last night from the hospital. The superintendent sent out emails letting parents and people know that there had been some bad reaction to this candy, and the candy had been turned over to the police, and but fortunately the teachers and the students were all released from the hospital.
It seems like the school district or everyone took this pretty seriously. As we've seen with some food contamination issues with food from China, I'm sure they were concerned that this could take a more serious turn, right?
Yeah, absolutely. China has a horrible reputation. A lot of tainted food scandals from China, everything from pet food, toys, lipstick, infant milk formula. So they took this very seriously and, immediately just sent everybody to the hospital just to be evaluated. And, again, fortunately, it didn't go any further, and that candy was confiscated so that they'll find out, hopefully, what was wrong with it. So that's where things stand at the moment.
Patty, is this something that you can bring it back into the country, or is it something that maybe should have been caught by customs?
You can bring candy and everything. Go ahead, Patty.
Well, that's it. People were wondering that. In fact, a group of parents were talking on Facebook about this. So I kind of listened to their conversations, and they were wondering the same thing. Usually, I guess if candy is labeled and marked and it's bagged, it's not a problem if it's hard candy. But this didn't appear to be bagged, but it was in this cylinder and it was unmarked. But it wasn't specified if that's how the candy, was bought and purchased, or if that was just how somebody transported it. So I don't really know how it was done. This is a very common candy, and it's sold all over the world. So it's hard to know really if it should have been brought or shouldn't have been brought. I guess it would depend how it was packaged.
Are they certain it's the candy and not something else they ingested, or not a virus?
Well, they don't know for certain. That's why, and that's a good point. That's why they're having the candy tested. But from what I understand, it was just the individuals that, after ingesting the candy, came down with some bad reactions. And they didn't say, again, the school, respecting privacy, did not say exactly what the reactions were to the candy. Was it, lightheadedness? Was it, other physical symptoms? They didn't really say, so we don't know for sure what they experienced. So that's kind of an unknown question at the moment. But from what I understand, no one else is sick. And, again, listening to parents whose children went on that same trip, they said the kids, while they were over there, some kids were eating the candy there, and nobody got sick from what they were eating over in China. The whatever happened seemed to have happened over here with this candy, and they don't know. And I did have correspondence with Weston Police Chief John Troxel, and he said that specimens of that candy have been delivered to the Connecticut State Forensics Lab today by Weston Police Sergeant Matt Berdacki for further analysis. So he said it's currently an active police investigation, and they will, release more information as it becomes available. So the police are taking it seriously.
It could be a month, though, before they get the results back from the state lab.
Optimistic, aren't you?
Usually what happens, yes.
But it's interesting. I wonder.
I've been down this path before with other stories. It's not quick.
Now, I just wonder
like
if
a slow boat to China.
If they do find something concerning about this candy, like could this become a bigger issue since it is sold, as you said, worldwide? Like I wonder if this could be the start of some other, food warning.
I have a feeling it depends. It depends what they find. For example, in Australia, I've seen pictures of it, and I think you just posted some photos on Behind the News here. Mm-hmm. There's the really bright colored ones. That's known as fruit rock candy, and it's sold in Australia, and it's packaged, and there haven't been any. Again, I was Googling to see if there were any complaints. No complaints about that. Another person on Facebook, another parent, said they bought these candies at a candy shop in Niagara Falls, and they were really good. They have fruity, they taste like grape, they taste like peach. They're tasty little candies, and no problems. Another woman said she bought these same candies last summer in Poland.
Me too.
And they were perfectly safe.
That's so.
You did really,
Patty. I was just gonna say that's so weird. 2 summers ago, I went to Poland and I purchased the same candies. It said they were made in Poland, but who knows? And they were just like that. And I brought them back to this country. I gave them out. I think I gave some to Robin Wallach because she was filling in for me while I was gone. And no problems. They were delicious.
I didn't get any. Did you, John?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, people like them. So as I said, these types of candies. Now, I don't know where they probably aren't all made in the same place.
Right.
I'm imagining they're made in different places, and there's different, there's different brands, different kinds. Again, we don't know yet. There's a lot of questions, and none of us really know yet what to make of this until we find out. The good news is, though, everybody was released from the hospital. And it didn't go any further. We haven't had any other reports that anyone else has been sick. I do know this, that I believe the principal called of the kids into her office to find out what they had purchased and say that everything needs to be thrown away that was edible food that was bought in China on the trip needs to be tossed out.
Well, great job.
And I know some people bought tea. They bought other things too.
Great job reporting on this, Patty. I know something certainly parents are going to be very, very concerned about. And just moving on to another note quickly, I know you had a big stir crazy episode yesterday. How'd that all go? You had the introducing the secret ingredient or the required ingredient for the big chef show down there in Ridgefield. Tell us about that.
Yeah, they're going to have a battle of the chefs. May 17th. May 17th, they're going to have a battle of the chefs at Founders Hall in Ridgefield, and it's going to be just like a Chopped episode, where 3 chefs are going to open a basket, and they're going to have to make dishes, and they're going to be judged. And this is a big fundraiser for Founders Hall, and it's really fun. This is their 3rd time that they've done this. And the secret ingredient for the appetizer round was revealed on my show, Stir Crazy, and it's going to be goat cheese, which one of the chefs was really funny. He's Indian chef, and he said, I'm not familiar with goat cheese, but I've cooked a lot of goat. And we all laughed at that. It just struck us as funny. He knows goat, but not goat cheese. And so that's going to be interesting. And the participants, everybody who goes, gets to eat the appetizers, and there's open bar, and there's entertainment, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we were happy to do that. It was really fun episode. So if people want to catch that, if they go to hnradio.com under shows. Under Stir Crazy, I'm guessing it's archived there, or it should be soon. They can listen to the show. It was really fun. And I don't see it on there yet, but I'm sure it'll be up there soon.
Patty, if you had to create a dish using goat cheese, what would you make?
I guess I would make I'm kind of lazy. I'd make goat cheese ravioli.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
I love goat cheese.
I would use homemade pasta, and I would make a goat cheese filling, maybe with some pine nuts in it, and make it a nice toothsome filling, and then I would make a brown butter sauce.
Oh, cool.
For it.
And you can listen to that. It's on our SoundCloud page, soundcloud.com/Hersam-Acorn-Radio. It's the Stir Crazy from 4/23, which was yesterday's date. So you can definitely check it out there. And are we gonna have a video then about that coming out later?
Yeah. Right? Chris Burns, who I believe you just spoke with, he was kind enough to shoot a video of the reveal, and that's going to be posted as soon as he's done with that. We're going to post that online as well, so people can watch the reveal part of that show. So it was so much fun. We couldn't stop laughing the whole time. Those chefs were really funny. So I really do. If you want to have a good time, it's definitely it's a show that'll make you hungry. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's great, Patty.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So Patty Gay of the Weston Forum. Patty, love having you on always. You're always great.
Yeah. Oh, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, coming up after the break.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Patty. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about a new weekly newspaper opening in Greenwich. So that's coming up on Behind the News after this.
Spring is finally in the air, and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well, with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
It's Lots of Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
It's 12:38 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. Kate Czaplinski with Josh Fisher and John Kovach. Guys, new newspaper coming up.
Yeah.
We just posted on our Greenwich Post website.
We did. And it's... John, can you just bump me up a little bit there? Sorry, it makes me feel a little bit better when I can actually hear my... Oh, my God, I sound so terrible. Yeah, so we actually lost a couple employees yesterday, which we're very sad about. Yeah, Paul Silverfarb and Carol Melgar. Not only were they great to work with, they're just really like two really good people, and I'm happy to be friends with them. And I've had a lot of fun over the years working with Paul and working with Carol. They both worked at the Greenwich Post, which Hersam Acorn acquired back in 2004, I believe it was, and we ran for 10 years and unfortunately closed due to the economic climate last December, when we also closed the Valley Gazette. And so, but they took a job at a new Greenwich paper, which we've been trying to find out some information about. We know who the owner is, apparently. We're also hoping that maybe they'd like to be printed by our printing plant, Trumbull Printing, which prints newspapers all over the region. And and we certainly wish them luck, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this a good time to be 2015? A good time to start a new newspaper?
Go ahead, John.
It's a tough question. Is any time good? I mean, obviously everybody wants to do it in a boom economy. I really don't know. I mean, if you've got advertisers locked up already for sight unseen for a product that they don't know the name of yet, then maybe. But if you, it's a tough stream to jump into right now, Kate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think Marty Hersam, our CEO, said it best. I mean, there's a lot of complexities and a lot of very compelling industry evidence that such an effort will likely result in years of heavy financial losses in order to reach a break-even point. And I mean, that's why we've been expanding and doing new things. I mean, like this radio outlet, like now the video streaming, because it's tough. You really have to set yourself apart. And our staff does a great job. I mean, we deliver great local news.
We do, and a big thing is it's that legacy media of just having a print. And I'm sure, obviously, I would hope that they're going to have a website, or maybe they just want to try the print model, which has worked in some places where it's only a newspaper and that's it. But they tend to be more remote, less cosmopolitan type places, as Greenwich, Connecticut. As apparently it sounds like the construction of our new studio has already begun.
Yes,
they're not even waiting for us to finish the show today. But that's these are the type of things that our company has decided to invest in. And it was very sad for us to close that Greenwich paper, and
love Greenwich.
Not an easy decision. And part of it was on the edge of our coverage area. It didn't border any of our other towns where we have papers. And Greenwich is a tough climate. Greenwich is a tough town. I worked at retail there for a year. I managed a photo shop there before I came to work here. And Greenwich is more New York than Connecticut.
It's very different, I think, than many of our other communities in Fairfield County.
It's a great town. The people there are they're really good people. I got to know some people there. I loved working in retail there. You'd think that people in Greenwich would be all these snobs and everything like that. No, because you know what, everyone there's doing, not everyone, but it just is, they have a great attitude there, really kind people, but it's also, it's on the borders, Bedford and Rye and all those, and Port Chester, those little areas there, so, and it's super close to the city also, so things are a little bit different there. It's not like even Darien and New Canaan, or certainly Ridgefield or Shelton or Trumbull.
Right. And there is a great business community in Greenwich, which we know firsthand from doing some live remotes there last year with HAN Radio.
Those were great live remotes. They really were.
A great local business community there. But yeah, we have to see what happens. And as we said, very sad to lose Paul Silverfarb and Carol.
It is. It's
Paul's has been a big part of the radio.
Yes, he has, and they will both be missed. We will continue to, and in fact, will enhance our updating of Greenwich-Post.com, which we're in a transition with that right now.
Right.
When you go from having a staffed office in a town, putting on a paper and updating it, and admittedly, we've fallen a little behind on that, but we're going to catch right up with that, and the efforts to that have already begun and have been going on, but a lot's been into the streaming video, the streaming audio, and what we've been doing with that.
Yeah, and
we were down in Greenwich the other day for a great lacrosse game.
Yeah. So and we're still obviously through the FCAC and through Greenwich-Post.com, we're still covered. And it should be noted too that those Greenwich employees, we had 4 employees there, and they were very valued employees, which is why we did our best to hold on to them. Ken Borsick, the editor, was going to take another position here. He ended up getting hired by the Greenwich Time. Ken's been covering Greenwich since I think it was part of the British colonies.
Ken is actually in that turn about the spies in colonial time. Ken is actually a character in that.
I love that show. I think I'm maybe one of the only people in the world who actually
I have to binge watch it. I have to catch up.
But I love colonial history.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. So, But so interesting things. We'll be keeping you up to date. And it sounds like the name of it is going to be the Greenwich Ledger.
Oh, really? We heard that.
That's the LLC that's been filed for it, and that's in that story there. So, which, we have a ledger, the Lewisboro Ledger. I've always liked that as the name of a paper, though, the ledger. And that was, in Law and Order, that's what the New York Post is called there. It's called the New York Ledger. That's the big, outrageous tabloid in New York City in Law and Order, and I always thought that was kind of neat. Anyway, we still have some top stories to talk about, all that sort of stuff. We have one more break to do. We're going to do that. You're listening to... Oh, no, we're going to not take a break yet. Kate, if you could name any newspaper, what's your favorite newspaper name?
The Trumbull Times.
No, not just Times, really? I think Times is so boring.
No. I think Times is boring.
The Bugle?
Yeah.
The Gazette?
I liked my college newspaper name.
What was that?
Le Provocateur.
That's interesting. The
Provoker.
The Scribe was mine at the University of Berkeley.
The Scribe was my high school newspaper, yeah. Bunnell.
Chronicle has always been a...
Chronicle's nice.
Yeah.
You know what? I love The Pilot. And maybe it's because that was the first paper I worked for. But the reason why it was named The Pilot is because that was a job that Mark Twain had. He was a riverboat pilot. Way back when, before he came to Reading,
I never understood.
and that's how they chose the name, The Pilot. So I always thought that was kind of a neat thing.
I did not know that,
and it's a little different.
It is different. There aren't a lot of pilots.
No.
Courier, I like.
Yeah, Courier. The Gazette.
Gazette's good.
So one or two Z's in Gazette.
I sort of thought my sort of old-timey, but the first newspaper that I worked at
was what?
The Sentinel and Enterprise.
Oh,
kind of a cool.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a cool name.
Combo.
Yeah.
So still, if the paper had the evening news in it, evening of the day or morning, like the Dallas Morning News, I think that's neat. It shows you
that still exists. Yeah.
All right, so now I think we're getting ready to take a quick break. We're going to be back. We're going to talk about the top stories this week on our coverage area. You're watching and listening to Behind the News on HANradio.com and streaming live on the Hersam Acorn Network.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. 8332 or online at stratfordsmile.com.
This year, 3,000 Connecticut women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Hersam Acorn is a proud sponsor of the Komen Connecticut Race for the Cure. Help make an impact in the local fight against breast cancer by joining us on May 9th in Westport at Sherwood Island. With your help, Komen Connecticut invests in local breast cancer programs, helping local women beat breast cancer. Visit KomenCT.org to register, volunteer, or donate today. We race for Connecticut. Why will you race?
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
1248 on Behind the News on HANradio.com. Kate Czaplinski with Josh Fisher and John Kovach. Guys, time to take a look at some of the top stories in our Hersam Acorn News websites. I mean, the number one by far was just posted last night, and that's on the fire in Ridgefield at the Casagmo complex. Very sad. I mean, one woman seriously injured, two people in critical condition as of 5 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, it's bad. They've been airlifted, in case you missed the update on Coffee Break this morning. They have been airlifted to the burn unit at Bridgeport Hospital, which is one of the best in the East Coast.
Yes.
I mean, they will fly people from Boston down to the Bridgeport burn
Yeah, it's
unit.
the only unit in the state as well. So they were airlifted there. One was an elderly woman and her son who tried to rescue her. So that was one unit. The damage was mostly contained to that one unit.
Casegma was a condo complex right in the heart of Ridgefield, actually right by where we were just talking about. Right by where the Battle of Ridgefield went, right by it. There's a little plaque there commemorating it, and so
I need to go to that commemoration sometime.
The little like stone that they have on the wall there, it's a little stone inscription on the wall right there on Main Street. It's the stone, and behind the stone wall is Casegma. It's very, it just kind of is there. It's a very sweet thing, noting that 16 British soldiers died, and I think 8 Americans died fighting the British as the British tried to burn down Ridgefield. They burned down St. Stephen's Church. I don't know if it was called St. Stephen's then, but that's now. And then I tell people that's why they rebuilt it in stone.
Is it? Or do you just make that up to me?
I make a lot of stuff up, John, when I tell people about stuff.
Oh, my Lord.
That's not true completely.
Well, some happier news that was lead news is a new ice cream shop opening in Shelton, downtown Shelton. This has gotten a lot of interest, including on our Valley Gazette website and SheltonHerald.com. But yeah,
it's a Derby family that owns it.
Yes, it's a Derby family. The shop will serve Buck's ice cream, which is a French-style brand that's made in Milford. So there's a lot of local connections there.
That's great.
That's very cool.
So how far away is it from our studio here?
It's pretty close. We just have to keep driving straight down Bridgeport Avenue till we hit downtown Shelton. It's going to open... it opened Saturday, April 18th, and 19 flavors, including unique ones like toasted almond, orange cream, swamp, and mud. Have to check that one out. And waffle cones. So pretty excited. Signature Sundays.
You guys
include
can bring this home, right? You guys can carry this the rest of the way.
Oh, we're definitely going to check that place out.
Seriously, we need to go there. And I'm going to skip a couple of stories.
Do it, John.
But the closing of Gates in New Canaan. And Josh, how many times was meet me at Gates? I mean, that was where you met. That was where people, if you were meeting somebody, that was among the top places, maybe because it's easy to,
Yeah, well, it's on Forestry, which is that, forgive me for using the word cute, but it is a cute street, and it's right, the little one-way
great pedestrian
street.
Walkway.
It really would be, but it was nice, and it was, one of the older restaurants in New Canaan. It's been around for 25, 30 years, and there weren't a lot of restaurants in New Canaan. Now there are a lot of restaurants in New Canaan, and some of the restaurant owners who have been around for a while. Some new shiny toys show up and new places to try out. People are going to go check out the new places, and that's hurt some of the long-time established restaurants.
True, but I think people always went back to Gates. Did you ever go into Gates? It was very rare, and it was generally off hours, that you went into Gates and it wasn't busy. And sometimes it is with these, just that the people and the guys who run that have been at it for a long time. Sometimes it's just time to
That's certainly
get
true.
out of the restaurant business.
Right, and then some locals have gotten together and they're going to reopen it up too. So
what do we know about that? I mean, apparently they have a background. They have other local restaurants in this area. That's about all we know. We know it's going to be Gates, and we know they're local people.
Yeah, I mean, there are gigantic gates that you walk through to enter it, and But yeah, the current owners, Jeb Swift and Bill Auer, have said that they are, there are new owners. They plan to keep the Gates name. They're gonna do some minor updates to the interior and to the menu, and the reopening is tentatively scheduled for August or early September. So that should be it'll be good. Tequila Mockingbird, which is right next to it, which is also it's just a great name.
I love that name.
So, and they've been there forever, but still a popular place. They got really good salsa there too, and about a million different types of tequila.
I would hope so.
Right.
Otherwise, false advertising there. We actually don't serve margaritas or tequila here at Tequila
This
Mockingbird.
is actually a frozen yogurt place.
One of the great names.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
And that's, like you said, just a great stretch there.
Mm-hmm. Another top story from New Canaan, which was this potential suicide at the train station last Friday when John was fishing down in New Jersey. We had Michael Katarivas on live from the scene covering that. Got a lot of views online, and luckily it was just a potential suicide. It was not an actual suicide.
Tragedy averted.